John not only talks the talk, but he walks the walk.
He's a guy that makes things happen. John would be the guy that I would hope to be someday.
He believes in people even before they believe in themselves.
He's innovative and incredibly fair.
He envisions it, and then he empowers his people.
Giving of oneself. There's no one that has done that more generously than John Lawson.
I remember growing up and seeing my dad many times after church approach the preacher and ask if there was anybody that was in dire need in the congregation. And when my dad gave the pastor some money to help him out, it was always with the qualification, don't you tell anybody where this came from. And he didn't know I was watching, but I was.
So many people go to John and ask for help, and he really supports so many organizations. It's just a real testament to him and his family, how he grew up, how he's teaching his children.
You feel like that you've got some experience or ability to help that organization and to do some things they maybe haven't been able to do.
He really likes to give his time and attention, and it matters to those of us who benefit from that.
I like to give my efforts to organizations that frankly are successful and have a good business model and plan. But mostly I think it's a place where you can make a difference.
One word, integrity. He's a sought-after leader because he wants his personal business interests to succeed, but he's also gets a lot of satisfaction in getting museums, universities, and so many other civic endeavors on track and working as a team to build an organization.
Great things for CHKD. He cares a lot about children. He always talks about how he learned from his father, Bob, what philanthropy was all about. And if you help a child and you help a stranger, it really changes the world. And he's brought that with him to the board that he serves on.
Children's Hospital, the King's Daughters, we were interviewing with other contractors for their first operating room addition, and they selected us to do the work, and I saw the good work that they do there and immediately noticed and experienced how special it was, and so we've had a continual relationship ever since.
John Lawson and his company, WM Jordan, has hosted a golf tournament for 26 years for the kids at CHKD. He invites community members, and they raise over $100,000 every year for us. And he says, we start tomorrow and next year.
Achievable Dream was Walter Segeloff. He was a very good friend and a very driven, caring person, and the uniqueness of the program, the students at risk that they were reaching, and you see the character that they build.
When you look in the dictionary or Google optimism, up pops a picture of Johnny. That optimism instills hope in our students.
It's an inspiring organization, one of the best investments that I think I've ever made. Leadership in the business community has to take ownership of that program to make it work, and that's what's happening.
The next generation of leaders can learn from him, always understanding that there's light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a train.
You hear all the time about this current generation not having the work ethic and not having their priorities straight. I see exactly the opposite. I see a generation that really thrives on community service and trying to help other people. We just need to mentor and let them find their way, because there's a lot of good in this world.
One of the biggest things that we have going is the intern program at WM Jordan Company. The best young minds in the construction industry regionally. And the thing is, we really want those people to succeed in the business. And I'd like to know the number of times that I've heard Johnny say, let the young guys figure it out. They'll figure it out long before we ever will.
You have that ability to have the oversight and guidance from the older generation, but you also give them opportunities to experience those things starting out in a world without having that advantage. Having lived in Blacksburg for 6 years when I was in school at Virginia Tech, it was wonderful living in a college town. And getting in the fraternity that I joined made a huge difference in my life. We're mostly engineers, but they had structure and discipline in their lives to be the very best at what they did. And it became ingrained in me. And so when I was able to graduate and come with W.M. Jordan Company, it became part of the fabric here also. Newport News is a college town.
When John graduated from Virginia Tech, he came home to make his life and his work here, to make Hampton Roads more vital and successful. A wonderful friend and partner in helping us create a great university at Christopher Newport. His contributions are lasting and profound.
CNU has always been a special place. Seeing the transformation from a community college to a four-year university was special, but when Paul Tribble took over the leadership there, it was transformed overnight. They had a winning formula and a winning team, and who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
He understands the power of great dreams and the commitment to excellence in all things. These are the values that have inspired our success at Christopher Newport.
Now, everybody knew Josh Darden, and he would always call when something was really important. Whenever I got his call, number one, you always took it. Number two, it was never about anything about him. He was always asking for support of other people or other organizations. I got a call from Josh about joining the Virginia Tech board and also as serving as rector, and how many doors that were able to be opened because of that experience.
That day at Virginia Tech in 2007, we knew what was going on because of the news, just like everybody else did. But Johnny, as you know, was the rector at Virginia Tech at that time. I remember walking past his office that day. I knew what had happened, but John was John. He analyzed the situation, considered the most rational and compassionate approach to it, and without fanfare.
You could never be prepared for a situation like that tragedy. You never have that preparation in life. The students were the strength of the entire community and of the university. When the university announced that they didn't have to take final exams, hardly anybody left. Why didn't you go? And they said, because my professors need me.
I've never actually felt like I worked for John Lawson. I've always felt like I've worked with John Lawson at W.M. Jordan Company. He gives a lot of responsibility and authority to all of his employees. It's, I think, a unique atmosphere we have over here.
A good CEO has to delegate authority, and you've got to let them celebrate their success within the company and the responsibility, and to let them shine.
I've known John Lawson and his family all my life, just about. A lot of construction for Ferguson Enterprises. He likes to dream, he likes to see what can be done, and then he likes to put the effort together and make it reality.
He always approaches things as if they're going to happen. John has a passion for everything he engages in, very visionary leader. I think that's one of his greatest traits.
Leadership is enabling other people to excel beyond their own self-imposed limitations. A real leader doesn't have to be in the spotlight. They actually get the greatest satisfaction with watching other people do well and take on responsibility and enjoy it.
His business acumen is really legendary here in Hampton Roads and really around Virginia. That has done a great deal to make this a better community to live in.
You can never be a leader without giving back to the community.
Leadership is about success, but far more importantly, it's about significance. It's about leading lives of purpose and consequence, engaging in making a difference. It's about giving. There's no one that has done that more generously than John Lawson.
A great family man who makes the time for leisure and fun for his family.
My wife and my children and all my good friends have supported me at every spot along the way, and you can't get there without them believing in you.
Hey Dad, thank you for not only being a mentor and a father to me, but being a mentor for the greater community and leaving a lasting legacy. I love you.
Hey Dad, you never cease to amaze me with your hard work and dedication you put forth towards the community. Whether it's your love for the community, family and friends, or our 3 dogs at home, I love you so much, and I'm proud to call you my father and my role model.
Dad, I'm so proud of you. Every day you seem to amaze me and the people around you. I love you so much, and I strive to be like you every day. No one in the history of the world has a better father than I do.
It's not what you tell your children, it's what they see you do. I always try to stress you don't ever make your fortune on somebody else's misfortune. They love sharing with friends and new friends. My son goes to camp every summer and asked me who else is going with him. He says he doesn't know anybody. I said, you're going to go away and you're not going to know anybody? And he said, that's right, everybody's going to be a new friend. I said, that's a good way to go through life, you know?